we doing, guys? And welcome back to TSTV for the preview of Legia Warsaw versus Chelsea in the first leg of the quarter-final in the Conference League. Now, after watching the Champions League over the past couple of nights, particularly that Arsenal game at the Emirates against Real Madrid, I'm really finding it hard to get excited about this. Those are the nights that we should be having. Those are the nights that we have had in the past, coming up against European royalty and a rocking Stamford Bridge, dispatching them, not always with these, it hasn't always happened like that, but, having one of those great big European nights. And that I absolutely despise Arsenal, but, for them, what a night for their supporters. And it's really hard to just kind of get up for this. In this pre-match press conference, Enzo Maresca, I think, came out and said that, the players should be excited and lucky to experience a night like this. And I can't really get on board with that because we've gone and won the Champions League multiple times. We've been in the latter stage of the Champions League multiple times, even the Europa League, to be honest. It's a much bigger and better competition, and we've won that a few times as well. So I can't get on board with the fact that we should be lucky and thankful that we're in the quarterfinals of the Conference League. And I know maybe that's disrespectful to other clubs. Maybe there's a lot of other clubs that would love to be in our position, but if Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, any other big European team were in the Conference League, they would kind of be looking at it with disdain, and that's how I kind of see it. But look, it is a competition that we're in. I do still want to win it. It could actually be a route into Europe as well, because there's absolutely no guarantees that we can finish in the top 6 right now. So winning the Conference League gets us into the Europa League. And also it's kind of like a bare minimum requirement for Maresca, right? Like, if we don't win the Conference League, it will be truly, truly embarrassing, and it will be a poor reflection on him. It will be a poor reflection on the team and the club. So it's a no-win situation, really. If Legia Warsaw beat us over 2 legs, it's frankly a disaster. So we just need to go and be professional. For me, the much bigger games, the games I'm getting excited about at the moment, are the Premier League games. The way we've been playing recently, apart from Tottenham, has not been exciting. It's not been enterprising. It's not been good to watch. It's not made me come away with that kind of feeling of, yeah, we're really onto something here. It's been very, very drab for quite some time. But, the carrot of getting into the Champions League is so big, and we really should be prioritising that at all costs. And obviously, Maresca's team selection at Brentford raised a lot of eyebrows. A lot of people saying, how can you be prioritising the Conference League? He has come out and said that wasn't necessarily the case, but it'd be interesting to see what team he does pick this evening. I think he's going to go quite strong, to be honest. I think even if we lose, we should be okay to go through next week. But it would not be a good thing for the form momentum we want. So I have a feeling he might go strong, try and get the tie won, and then you can sort of focus on, I think it's Everton, the game after the second leg against Legia Warsaw. So I think maybe that will be his thinking. But yeah, I don't know too much about Legia. They beat Molde 4-3 over 2 legs in the last round. Hardly, PSG or Barcelona or Real Madrid, is it? But, fair play to them for getting so far. They're 5th in the Polish league, and to be quite honest, if we cannot dispatch comfortably the 5th best side in the Polish league, then there are really, really bigger issues than I thought. So look, let's get into the predicted lineup. As I say, I think he'll go quite strong. And again, this is a reflection of what I think Maresca will pick. In goal, we Philip Jorgensen. He's already said it will be Philip Jorgensen. Robert Sanchez is the number 1 in the Premier League, whether we like that or not. So Philip Jorgensen will be in goal. Right back, I think it will be Malo Gusto. Now, I'd like to see Josh Achiampong at right back, but I don't think he is going to play him. I think he'll probably bring him on and maybe play him in the home leg. So I think it'll be Malo Gusto at right back. Centre back, I can see him maybe resting Levi again and going with Tosin and Badiashile. Now, Badiashile hasn't played in the last couple of league games, and obviously he'll want to get minutes in his legs as well. And I think, again, that will kind of be indicative as to who will play at centre-back on Sundays. If it is Tosin and Badiashile, then I would expect it to probably be Levi and Trev on Sunday against Ipswich. Left back, now this is quite an interesting one. I would go with Marco Correa. He obviously rested him for 75 odd minutes against Brentford. There's no need to really kind of rest him. He's always very, very fit and mobile, and he had a little bit of a rest at the weekend. And again, as I said, I think Maresca will just think, let's get this tie done without many options at left back unless we play Gusto there or Reece James there. But for me, that doesn't really work. So Marco Correa at left back. In midfield, now, in an ideal world, I'd love to see both Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez rested. I ultimately don't think that will be the case. I think we'll see maybe one of them rested, but not both. So I believe it'll be Moises Caicedo in centre midfield. I don't think Lavia is in the Conference League squad anyway, but obviously he can't stay fit. There's the option of playing Reece James in there, but I don't really want to see Reece playing in this game. I'd rather save him for Sunday. Obviously, then you got, Matthias Amugu, and he's barely played a minute, so I can't really see him starting the games. Yeah, Moises Caicedo in midfield, and alongside him, I would say will probably be Keane and Dewsbury Hall. If Fernandes can then get a little bit of a rest, and maybe he can do what he did, I think, in the first leg against Copenhagen, where he played Caicedo for 45 minutes and then Enzo for 45 minutes. Hopefully, that's something that he will implement during the game. Keane and Dewsbury Hall, look, we know what he is. He's not good enough to play for Chelsea. He's a lower Premier League Championship player. He's done okay recently. Nothing spectacular. Just worked hard. And fair play to him. He's not had many minutes, and I think he probably knows that he's not up to it as well, but he does work hard. He doesn't hide away on the pitch. He's just not quite good enough, but he will start this game. In attack is where it gets quite interesting. Now, obviously, Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, and Pedro Neto sat out most of the game against Brentford at the weekend. Now, as mentioned, I think he will go quite strong here. So we could see one or a couple of those players play. Now, I think Tyreek George at left wing will play. Now, he hasn't had any minutes in the past couple of Premier League games, but Maresca does seem to favour him in the Conference League, and I do think he deserves some minutes, particularly as our other wingers at the moment are really not kind of delivering that much, and he's got a few assists in the Conference League as well, so I'd like to see Tyreek George at left wing. Now, at number 10, look, maybe it's a game for Cole. Maybe it's a game to try and get him a goal and get him back on track. Obviously, it's been a little while now, and I feel like I've been saying that for the last few weeks, but this could be a good game for him. Personally, if there's any risk, then I wouldn't start him, but I can see Maresca starting with Cole at number 10 and then maybe bringing him off at half-time or after 60 minutes. So Cole Palmer at number 10. And then on the other wing, I would have thought it would be Pedro Neto. Now, obviously, he had a rest last weekend. He may well play Jadon Sancho out there as well, but in all honesty, I wouldn't like to see it, I don't think. He's not been in great form. He worked hard against Brentford, but he's just not really producing anything at the moment. I guess there's a school of thought that maybe this is a game where you can get a goal and assist, but I reckon you could put Jadon Sancho up against, the dog and duck, and he probably wouldn't register a goal and assist at the moment. So, yeah, Pedro Neto on the left wing. And then up front, now this is an interesting one. Obviously, there's a big argument to play Christopher Nkunku because we need to save Nicholas Jackson's minutes, but Nkunku's output and work ethic, and it's been a disgrace recently. And as mentioned, I think Enzo Maresca will want to try and get this game wrapped up in the first leg. So I can see Nicholas Jackson starting and then maybe coming off at half-time for Christopher Nkunku. I think that will kind of be quite interesting in the way Maresca manages this game. I think there will be quite a few players that will start but come off quite early to try and manage minutes and get players up to speed and make sure that we're not risking them for the weekend. So yeah, that's my predicted lineup, guys. Now, in terms of a predicted scoreline, look, it's tough to tell because obviously Legia, their fans will be very, very loud. They'll be very boisterous. They're not a great side. And if we play anything that we can, although that is a big if at the moment, then we should win pretty comfortably. Yeah, I think just try and get the job done and try and not worry about the Conference League game for a few weeks. If we can get a really, really good victory, then it takes a lot of pressure off from next week and we can rest players. So I'm going to go for Chelsea to win 3-1. I think Legia might score just because of the atmosphere and their players will be up for it, but I think we should have too much quality. We should have way, way too much for Legia Warsaw. So I think it will be fairly comfortable, and a 3-1 result will be a good result. It will essentially mean we're through because I can't see Legia coming to Stamford Bridge and winning 3-0. One of the actual positives of this run, if you can call that, is our home form has actually still been pretty good. So yeah, if we get a 2-goal margin victory, win 3-1, then I'd say that's pretty much tie over. So yeah, look, that's my predicted lineup, guys. That's my match prediction. Hopefully it's a fun game. Hopefully it's something that we can take some positives out of. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the match review. Take care.